Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I've been asked to read this. Well, you know, most of you know me. My name is Cheryl Sanko, but I've been asked to read this little opening. We thank all of you for joining one another as a community. Hear that? Community! Okay? This is a community interaction to gather and share information. We ask you to be respectful to one another. If you have a concern, we ask that you have a possible suggestion or solution for your concern. We ask that you be as concise as possible with your concerns so we can hear from everyone. Have a great evening, and I hope you do lots of good stuff.
My name is Mary Lynch. I can hear it. I can hear myself. My name is Mary Lynch. I live at 62 Royal. I've been here 2 years and something, I don't know. All right, ground rules. You can see what, one question per round. Be respectful of everyone's time. Speak respectfully. No calling names, accusations. Speak from the heart, but factually. Speak about what you witnessed to avoid speculation. There's no pads up here. If someone wants to write something down, put it in the box. That's great. We have Cheryl, Carmen, microphones. Raise your hand if you have. We won't have answers. We don't have answers. We're looking for problems, I guess, and if there's a solution, what you think a solution could be, but certainly not answers. We can't have answers. That's it. Video. Who's first? Walt? Mr. Moore?
Yeah.
Are you first?
Well,
Oh, what do you got there?
we don't have any answers, so I got
No answers, sorry.
nothing.
Well, you can ask.
You're ready? Go for it. Want me to, or you want to?
All they see is a ceiling fan.
Yeah, he's trying, he's working on it right now.
We have a ceiling fan apparently.
That's not me. He's got his camera on him. Oh, you see a ceiling fan?
Yeah.
Actually, that's fine.
That's right, we still hear what's going on. That's the important thing. You get 27 at home already listening.
Hello, 27 at home. All right, 28. Some topics for discussion could be more workshops, like maybe one every month. Everybody okay with that? And not me, but maybe have the board bring workshops back. That's, you know, that's up to the board, not up to us. Legal chair. There are any people in the park here who were on the committee, legal committee, and that was taken away. Does anybody want that back again?
Yes.
Something to think about. I don't know, it's what they had here before the COVID. That was before me, before my time, but they have a legal chair here. They had a committee that was the legal voice. Now they pay an attorney more than anybody else makes. The attorney makes a big bucks from our HOA fees. What's paying the attorney? I don't know. I've been here since 2021, and they did it before me. I don't have an answer. That's something we can ask the board. Shareholders. to vote on high expenditures. It's our money, it should be up to us to, we voted in the board to do things on our behalf. But I kind of think they should maybe ask us every now and then what we think about things, maybe, you know, I don't know, that's me. Spectrum, that's a huge expense. People are thinking there should be like two to three bids, not just the same guy they always use. Maybe we should see what else is out there, and if we can get Spectrum, internet, TV, because it's free to us, but it's not free, we're paying for it. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I got one.
I apologize.
No, it's okay, she can be the first. I got, all contracts, all committees. People need to give their time to help run the park, let's say, you know, we can't just sit back and vetch about it. Okay, yeah, we should all help give our time, you know, one for something, you know, coffee, whatever. We need to help out as a community. We're all in this together.
What's the first one?
I think
Belinda.
Belinda and then,
Ladies first.
okay, let's go.
I don't know exactly. I know that we talked to a representative from Converge.
Yes,
And then we had an impromptu kind of meeting with Telecom.
yes, those are two, yeah.
Yeah, and we're supposed to, my understanding is get 3 bids. And I haven't heard a thing about the 3rd bid. I haven't heard of anybody coming to speak to us, to let us know what they represent.
I know Converge was taped and the tape got lost. It got, something happened to it, so I was on vacation and I didn't get to see it and nobody gets to see it and this is gone.
Yes.
So I don't know, we don't know what they said at the first one, but the second one, Kim taped it, so if somebody wants to see it, Kim's got that.
Well, I was there and I asked a lot of questions and I asked specifically, was it being recorded or was it being taped?
The
And
first
she
one?
said, the Converge.
Yep.
And
Yep.
she said, yes, it was gonna be taped and it would be posted. And then at that meeting, she said they lost it.
We all got an email saying that it's something became of the recording, did record or something, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
so that's, I mean, that's up to the RPM, I'm guessing. I don't have answers, I'm just looking for questions on what people need a change in, what they want to see a change in.
I don't know if maybe we need to get the 3rd bid.
Mr. Bender might,
Yeah.
is he here? Bill Bender?
Mr. Bender did a great job getting us. the
Maybe he can find a
second
3rd. What did you do, Bill?
I'm sorry?
You brought in this second?
Correct.
Looking for a 3rd. Is there a 3rd out there that we can call?
There was some writings that there was a 3rd, I'm not aware of.
Okay, yeah.
The office said they had an additional, I believe, or the board, one or the other.
Yeah, people at home can't hear Bill because he doesn't have a microphone. We can hear him, but the folks at home can't.
What I'm saying is I was told that there was 3 people, or 3 groups. I only brought one. And I think at
Yes.
some point there was a notice of some kind that said that there was Converge and 2 others, but I'm not aware of that other company.
And we lost the tape to the first one, no one can find the recording.
Those things,
So we don't know what was said.
those things.
And then the
It
second.
was in writing someplace, I can find it someplace in writing.
Okay. Anybody has any information of the 3rd company we can talk to, contact me or somebody.
Are we gonna stay on the same subject so we don't jump all around?
Yes.
We should all talk about Converge right now, and then we'll pick up another subject. So anybody else wanna speak on Converge, otherwise, we're gonna lose this thought. we have now.
Anybody else want to talk about internet, TV?
Yeah,
Where are we on the spectrum as far as when it
It
expires?
expired, right? As far as I know, I'm guessing, I thought it expired.
I can answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is the problem we have when people don't understand. Converge is a separate contract who intervened with us with Spectrum. Converge and Spectrum are two different companies. Now, the problem we have with Converge Services is they want us to sign a new contract. I spoke with Amy, who was here, and I asked her, the 2-year contract, are we bound by any agreement or any contract until 2024? Because they have the 2-year term in there. So she said no. Then the second time she came, I asked her the same thing. She said, yes, we're bound by the contract. So I said, is that what your company has said? Is that stated by Converge Services? She said no. Megan said, I asked who then said that we are bound by that. Megan said it was the association attorney that said that we're bound by the contract. Now, the old contract, who, by the way, was signed by the manager, not the president, who's supposed to sign all the contracts. The old contract has the agreement that they have 2 years from when we canceled. We canceled it last November. So they say we're still under contract for 2 more years till November 2024. Now they want us to sign the new contract, 2023, and the same thing is in there, word for word. And the way it looks, so whenever we sign this contract, they get 2 more years after we cancel it again. Will that be 2026? I really don't know.
Well, I think we should ask the RPM or the board. That's something to ask them. We're just asking questions, yeah.
I'm
There's another question.
Now,
Here's another question. Here's another
We
question.
don't, we don't month to spectrum.
Yes.
Can't hear you in the mic.
Are we on month to month with spectrum? Is that,
Yes.
Yes.
they can cancel at any time?
Probably, but they won't because they like our money. I mean, you know, think about it, they get a lot from this park. It's not like one house, it's multiple houses.
yeah, the last contract that we had with them ended last year, and the end of that contract was over $600,000.
Yeah, they're not.
Now, we extended it for 1 more year because we missed the date when we were supposed to cancel it or renegotiate it. So now we have 1 more year until March 31st.
There you go.
Okay? Now, also, I want to state that I had a letter sent to me, an email, by another attorney. A South Florida law attorney who specializes in HOAs, COAs, mobile home parks. And he said that this is the agency agreement with Converge doesn't have that kind of power or authority. Even though it's likely that they sent out a new agreement to sign, even though our agreement is still effective. And also, the agency also said that, yes.
3 minutes.
Can't hear.
None. Not good. Can't read all that. Come on, we got to talk. No.
I'm just giving them information of what I found.
Well, they think that's enough.
Camera's working.
So-
here, 35 at home.
You want to?
Now you guys had a question. Or something to say.
I'll change the subject. Carmen, thank you. Carmen Tony Spells, back to Palm Street East. I'm chapped. One of the reasons we can't get any answers here, and thank you for having this, I think the turnout's great, is we have a mysterious person in this department that could answer a lot of these questions that doesn't show up for anyone. And that's Megan. She doesn't come to caucus, she doesn't available in the office, and she's not here. Why not?
I know I have the mic, because I do have a question too.
Chris Eckhart, Truth Facts on East. I want to go back to the workshops. That was the first thing you mentioned. Okay. In our prospectus, it states that you will have workshops and board meetings. Workshops are for the discussion of your business, and board meetings are for passing your business and voting on it. And I know it's redundant for the board. Many of us have already been up there and done that. And you're gonna listen to the same people, the same words, and you're like, oh my God, too bad. A lot of people work, or maybe you're going to the doctor, maybe you're visiting people, or you just can't make it for that first one. Well, aren't you entitled? Well, you are by your prospectus. That's the paper, your legal instrument that you sign, from the very get-go, right from the beginning. This is your contract with the corporation. So if they're gonna tell you that you're beholden and bound to this, so are they. And if they don't want to appear because it's boring and redundant to them, they should, if it's too hot in the kitchen, get out. They should resign. There are many people in here, I know it's volunteer. I understand it's volunteer and it is work. Some of them work and a lot of them don't. Some of them just don't show up. I don't understand that concept. And you serve, you don't rule. And they have a habit of ruling or just sitting there and not answering your question. And we're entitled. On page 23, in the beginning of your prospectus, on page 23, it says, control of the board of directors is completely under the shareholders' control. So just so you know that. Thank you,
Kim Michaels, 2D Pendle Palm. Yeah, I'm supposed to be behind the camera, but I want to touch base on the Spectrum. My question is, has anybody talked to Spectrum themselves? It was mentioned they aren't going to drop us. Think about it. They aren't going to drop us. Of course, yeah. And the other company, Telecom, said the same thing. Okay, they aren't going to do that. But my next thing is the legal committee. I look at the legal expenses now, and I was talking to the past president back in I think she was 2016, 2017. They had a legal committee. On the budget, they only had to finance like $12,000, and half the time they didn't even use that much. Now, it's 9 times as much because for some reason, the legal committee was dissipated, let's put it that way. So I would really like to see that legal count, and think about it, 90 to 100,000 spending on silly questions when we don't even have an HOA attorney.
Do we have a few attorneys that live in the park here?
Yeah, we do. We have a judge.
And a judge? And a judge? No, they would be great for it. I don't know if they would want to, but it'd be something to think about.
Is that place lived before, when you had the legal committee, who was on, was it attorneys and judge?
No.
It's just people.
No.
But don't.
Just people with common sense?
And new Robert rules and the perspectives and things like that.
Okay.
All right. And not many attorneys, even if we pull one from the sky, they aren't, in the park. If they aren't in that, they really don't know it. Just like a lawyer that does hospitalization, they aren't going to know about car accidents. So anyway, That's my 2 cents, and you guys, let's think of things for solutions too, you know?
Yes, we're here for,
All right,
questions.
thanks.
Anybody else on Spectrum or legal? I know you.
Sylvia Silcox. I live at 603 Green Palm. I'm changing the subject because my concern is we have a lot of newbie people moving into the park, and I've talked to a lot of them, and they haven't had any orientation, any
Who's in charge
interviews.
of that?
I don't know.
Okay.
They're far behind getting people their orientations, and I think what we should do is we used to have the president of the clubhouse with a couple other people, interview these people or give them their orientation so they can get the rules and regulations. People have no idea what rules and regulations are because they haven't gotten yet.
Cindy and Joe, did you guys get your, or?
Did you have your orientation and your?
We got back handed to us and said, here's your orientation.
There you go. There's your answer.
I got mine during my closing from the.
At least you got one. You got one from
Mine was like 3 months later, but I also would like to make a statement too about changing from Spectrum to something else. But a lot of people work from home, so.
You just wait your turn. Okay, so, if anybody else, we could start a committee, we could bring that to, Megan and say, well, let's get a committee together that's gonna do this, alleviate them having to do it.
We can sit in the
We used to, yes, and we used to sit in the boardroom, and that's where I had my first, interview and orientation. So it's just giving people the knowledge on how to do it, let's get it done.
Something for the
These people have no idea what's going on in the park.
You know,
What's on that?
When we bought 5 years ago, we were not allowed to have our closing until we had done orientation.
Oh.
yeah.
It's time to change.
You had to do your orientation.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, that was when
5
Rick was here, yeah. Yeah, that was 5 years ago, so now things have changed things.
Sure.
How'd you do it?
Well, who dropped it all then?
Well, you can look at the realtors for one.
No.
Look at the realtors for one.
Okay. Joe, yeah. Nice meeting you today. I've been here over 17 years. Before we could even purchase, we had to be interviewed. It was done by In-Park Realtor. Do we still have an In-Park
No.
Realtor? There we go. Everything was explained. We were given the rules, the regulations. Don't we have somebody on a real estate committee?
Yes.
Is it a she?
Three of them.
3 of them. And they all live in the park? Yeah, well, so they're on their own, but they're not. But they happen to live here in the park. This was done many years ago, and I don't think we should say, we should bring it, I should think we should go to the board and say, we want that back, because too many of our new friends are being told, oh, sure, rules, regulations are, and it's terrible, because they're facing terrible responses. Yes, they don't know what. And things are happening, and they don't know what's going on. I agree. And I just think it should be brought into our agenda, and just tell them, we want it. Yes. You're not going to tell us what to do, we're telling you what we want brought back to this town. Oh, the lady with the, she was gonna stand up.
So, Kim Nemeth, and I'm at 75 Pinto Palm West.
Your name again, I'm sorry?
Oh, Kim Nemeth.
Thank you.
One big concern about changing from Spectrum to another company is that we do have a lot of people that work from home here, just to make sure that.
They get another mic, please.
Okay.
There you go.
So, my concern is that if we switch companies from Spectrum, because our Spectrum internet is really good, and there's a lot of people that work from home, So just to make sure that when we are switching, to make sure that we're gonna get the same service that we're getting from Spectrum, so people can continue to work from home.
Yes, did you know through Spectrum, when we moved in, our speed was below 100? I made a phone call to them and they did something through the lines and it went up over 300. I don't know if everybody knows that, all you gotta do is make a phone call and it'll get 3 times as fast.
Check your speed on the internet.
That's what I did, and it was below 100, and they redid something on their end, and it got 3 times as fast. So I don't know if everybody gets it as fast unless you ask for it, that's what I'm saying.
That's one of our problems. We don't get enough input from the people that are in charge, or from Spectrum, or whoever it is, that tells us that we have these things, and tells us that how we have transparency on everything we do, and accountability. And we're just asking the board, and we're asking the committees, give us the information. Let us know. It's our part. It's our money. We should be able to get any kind of information. Bring it out. Let us know. We're on your side, but if we don't know what we're doing, that's it.
All right, we have a question from home. Do you want to go first? Okay, Chris wants to go.
Chris Eckhart, you were talking about the interviews for new homeowners. All right, there are 3 people on the real estate committee. Now, you have to remember also, in the summer, the board, committees, whatever, they don't have to have meetings. That's not mandatory. They do get time off. They don't have to be on 12 months a year. I mean, if there's a big problem, I'm sure they're willing to cooperate. But for the real estate itself, that is something that if the 3 people are not capable of handling. If they're not capable of handling that full of capacity, maybe they could go to the office and ask for some additional help, because they, I believe, have to be vetted before anybody. I don't think that you can, from the clubhouses, interview these people. I believe there was something brought up as to everyone that even serves on a committee has to be vetted through the board. So whether it's your president in either one, that's someone that's on the Zoom or their phone.
Someone's got the Zoom open.
Yeah, whichever that may be, in either clubhouse, I don't think that you have the authority to do that and to know that they have kind of like a script that they read on, and then they're responsible for informing those people. So that's how they kind of control that. I just happen to know all of that. Thank you.
We got somebody from home that's gonna talk.
I believe it's me.
Yeah, Jane.
Jane?
Jane Garner. I served on that committee for about 8 years and did interviews, orientations. It took about an hour for each orientation. 31 years ago when I moved in, it was also done before we could even begin to purchase. We were interviewed. And my feeling is that it should, and everybody that does the interviews feels that it should go back that way. There's no doubt about it. But it is a thorough interview. I can also tell you that there are 2 people doing it all summer long. One of those people went 3 times to meet a new owner and they didn't show up. So sometimes it works both ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Gail Stott.
Gail Stott's on Zoom. Go ahead, Gail.
You're up, Gail.
Gail?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I am one of the people that's on the real estate team, and myself and Dick Waller to do the interviews for the orientations over the summer. And like Dave mentioned, I can't tell you how many cancellations I have gotten over the summer. I've literally gone over to the clubhouse, got myself all dressed, ready, got over there 5 minutes before I arrived, they canceled on me. 3 times one lady did it. And so I had people
And it's not anybody that's doing the orientation. We do need to, maybe get the office team together because, we only, orientations we get are the orientations we do. So if we don't get the orientation, that's not our fault. It has nothing to do with the real estate team.
So you,
Then it's coming to,
do you think the office should step in and, since they're there, they can do them?
no, absolutely not. They shouldn't have to do them. Megan and her team have plenty on their plate. They don't need to be doing orientation besides that.
What do you think the
That's
solution
not the
is?
issue.
What do you think the solution is?
Maybe we need, somebody else working with the new people coming into the park. Maybe it shouldn't even come to the office. Maybe we need somebody else that every time there is a closing on a house, that, we have a list and it can be people from the real estate team doing it. We call and we schedule our own meetings. And I think that would work out great.
Gail?
Yes.
We have a question. Give me 1 second. Go ahead. Microphone.
Could you tell us, as I said, when Kevin and I purchased 5 years ago, we were not allowed to close on our house until we had attended orientation. Why did that change? You wouldn't have to worry about cancellations or people not showing if they know they cannot purchase their home until they've done
Excuse me, but you either have to talk to Darlene Klein, who was head of real estate, or Megan, and find it out. I don't have an answer to that.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
I have a question. Who's talking? Marcia from 45 Long Forest. So why can't, I know the office people are busy, but why can't, when you're doing the closing or when you go in here for your background check or whatever, Megan or Deborah or Tony or whoever you're dealing with says it's mandatory, you come to this orientation.
Yep, that's something for us to present.
It's mandatory.
Yes.
And then at that point, then the real estate people can set the time up and hopefully
It
it'll
makes
work
sense
out.
to me, but
Okay.
I don't know about.
Excuse me, let me jump in here. They are telling them that it is mandatory. They tell these people all the time they're mandatory, and a lot of these people, newer people coming to the park are younger, they have jobs, they have certain times they can't make it or can make it, and unfortunately, we all have to work around it. So when we do, we're fine with it, but we can't continually have these people cancel on us. And then they go complaining to other people saying, well, I've never had my orientation yet, it's been months. Well, it's not our fault.
Well,
They're gonna find you, be winning.
That's something we can workshop then, on how to get around this, the orientation and closing.
Cindy Cochran, 615 Palm. I never was told about a mandatory interview or whatever you're saying, and I'm the person that got the bag of coupons. That was my interview. That was my orientation. I'm not saying, but I'm just gonna tell you, that's all I got. No. She said this is your orientation.
Yeah, this is something we need to workshop to see how we can get to.
Yes, and I was never told at closing that I would have an orientation. I was told by her.
Ms. Silcox.
Because we had questions. We didn't know where anything was.
Yep.
So
yeah, you don't know what your little key fob fits where, what you need to do. Yep, I get
exactly. But we had to ask people. That's how we found out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did too. I did have one, but I don't remember with who, because I didn't know anybody when I moved in, but yeah.
Banisha Matero, 613 Queen Palm. I moved in June and my realtor was Pam. And she said you have to have orientation scheduled before you can get your house. So my orientation was scheduled with Bill after I moved in, but I had to be there. And I was there and he was too.
Mr. Dresch. But it was my realtor who really set it up and made it all very clear to me. I see her name on a lot of places. Yeah. She is really good. Yeah, she's the one that gave me all my regulations at closing. Yeah, sure, I got it. You got it, sure.
That's because Pam lives here. Pam knows the rules and regulations. Gail? Gail. Wait a minute, Gail?
Is she gonna answer?
She did, she had her hand up.
Gail said, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, the process of the orientation and everybody closing. You have a woman that comes in and closes with you on your house. She does not do the orientations. Then what happens, once you close on your house, it goes to Tony in the office, and Tony starts calling and scheduling the orientations. Now, the orientations should only be done by the orientation team, the people on the real estate committee, not any board of directors, not anybody else in this park, but the people on the real estate committee. Now, if we're, so I don't know why Bill was doing an orientation.
Yeah, she just moved in, so I don't know how Bill got picked, but it was his lucky day, I guess. All right, yeah, this is something we have to find out how to get around, do it the right way, I guess. 'Cause we got 3 couples here that didn't get an orientation, but they live here, they don't know enough. Okay, thank you.
Well, I think we need to take this issue up. Darlene Swanky is head of real estate, and Tony in the office is in charge of contacting people for orientation. So maybe the two of them can get together and kind of pull this out.
That's what we're trying to do here tonight, trying to see what needs to be worked on and how to get there. That's the goal, thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. I'm done.
Hi.
Oh,
Sorry, guys, I was talking into the microphone.
I know you.
Hi, Mary.
You're Terry Stewart.
I am, and I'm one of the new residents here. It would be very helpful to have orientation around move-in time, because I do work, my spouse works, and it's, you know, everyone is scheduled, it's Monday at 11 o'clock in the morning, or it doesn't work for us.
We have to find something that works for everybody.
Right.
Some work jobs, some don't, you know.
So we moved in kind of blindsided and didn't know what we were supposed to be doing. And got quite a few people that didn't like it. But now we know the rules, obviously been able to go to orientation, but yeah, I think that's very important.
Yeah, we need to workshop it or just get all the right people who are supposed to be doing it.
Hi, Mickey Von Traeger from 36 Frangipane Andy Circle. This is a whole different subject. I know.
Wait a minute, what's the subject?
The subject is the dog park. I don't want to open up a whole can of worms. I just want to say that I've been following it. We don't have a dog. I don't want a dog. We've been following it. I've been following it. He doesn't care. But it's the one reason against it was the liability, because if the dog bites somebody. But I say, well, what if somebody hits a golf ball into somebody's head? Or what if somebody drowns in the pool? We have liabilities all over the place, and we have amenities for everybody. Anybody that wants to do something here can do something, except have a dog run for their dog. And there are people here that don't drive, and they love their pets, and they want to let their pet out somewhere. They should be able to let their pet run. And so if their pet bites another pet, that's their problem. But I'm just saying, we have a lot of amenities here, and I don't know why we can't look out for the people that have dogs, even though I don't want one.
I've been working on the dog thing since I moved in. I've been trying to work on a dog area. I know there's a dog run, I get that, and it's not fenced in to nobody, but it's my little neck of the woods now, so I'm trying to.
Linda Keel from 228 Road. I would like to go back to the orientation thing. I think we even need to take this a step farther because I have encountered many times where our renters aren't even aware of when garbage day is, how they're supposed to handle themselves at the pool and all the other amenities we have. So a lot of times when I'm out and about, I ask them if they had one, and many times the owners that are renting are not forwarding information to them. So this in turn is coming back on all of us. Some of this is. So if you I encourage you, if you run into people like I do, I will ask them, first of all, if they have the information. If they don't, then I help them find where they can get it and instruct them, because sometimes it's just
It seems like the ball's being dropped a lot around that, and we need to.
Yes, and that would answer a lot of our questions about problems in the pool, problems using drinking facilities, and other safety issues. So if you see somebody, ask them if they're a renter, if they have ask them and help them. I'll go over and make sure, if a new neighbor is there or somebody I know is renting, today is garbage day, today is recycling day. Sure, I just told them.
Yes.
We need to help each other get it, so we all get it.
I know when I first moved in, I guess I didn't know all the rules, and I was chewed out time and time again. No one was kind about it. They would just right in my face, we're in the neighborhood here, let's all be nice to each other.
Yep. Let's
I actually have something I would like to see happen, and I have a suggestion. I mean, I've been here almost 11 years now, and sometimes I don't know who to call and what. I think it would be really nice if we had a list. Who do you call? Okay. And we could ask the board and in the office, maybe to get together and write a list. Because I'll go, okay, the lawn. Who am I supposed to call on the lawn? Should I call a board member or should I call the office? We have a problem with trespassers. Who do I call? So it would be really nice if we looked at some questions, looked at some of the questions we have, and specify.
We should workshop this and have it by your door, let's say.
Right, it would just be so simple and make things so easy for people.
Just don't call the maintenance department in the middle of the night because something that they're not in charge of. It costs us every time they're called. Oh, we got somebody else at home.
Jean Wolf, 63 Thatcher East.
We've had a home user that's been up since before it shut. Please, let her run the meeting.
Home user. Jane?
Yeah, Jane. She's coming up here.
Jane, are you unmuted?
Jane, can you hear us?
Is she gone?
No, she's there. She's there.
You gotta unmute yourself.
Jane?
Okay, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Sam,
Thank you.
we do interview renters. However, if we don't know they're renting, they cannot be interviewed. And we have a lot of people that rent without reporting them to the office.
Oh, that's a conundrum.
So the first thing is that you need to know, and if they're renting, they need to know to go to the office, and the office should, when they know there's a renter, they set up an orientation.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Mole, 63 Thatcher East. New people, didn't we at one time either invite them to coffee? And maybe have a get-together once a month for anybody new? And also, when they do buy in, do they give them a copy of the monthly media? Because most of our information is in the monthly media magazine.
I would ask the block captain, the man in charge of block captains,
Is that part of the block captains? I mean, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, is that not part of the block captain?
Cheryl said they get a free coffee ticket, but I think, to invite them in to the coffee,
Something.
have a special
Yes.
afternoon
Somebody bring,
coffee.
yes.
Or
Yes.
soft drinks, just to get them, and maybe people give them the rules and regs and stuff like that.
You got it, I'm writing it down.
Thank you.
As a neighbor, let's watch out who's in new and let's be friendly and, no? Somebody?
Yeah, Mary, yes, no, you're right.
She took her hand back.
Who's next?
Me. I'm Brenda.
I know
I live on Royal. I've been here almost 15 years. Before we could close on our house, one topic, we had to show a picture of our dog. We had to get a credit check, background check, and we were told you don't close until you come for the orientation. That was the rule. All right. The other thing somebody brought up, the phone calls with emergencies. My husband here, accept your garbage. He gets emergency calls. He gets emergency calls for the silliest things. Emergency calls cost us money. Comes out of our maintenance fee. I went several weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, to talk to Megan about one of the emergency calls he got. And I don't want to go into great detail, but it was the craziest thing I ever heard of. And what it could have set us up for a lawsuit. That's not okay with me. And so anyhow, Megan said, she kind of said, well, Ron misunderstood when Ron called her. Ron, to my knowledge, is a pretty responsible employee. And so I felt like Megan was kind of, shuffling me. And she didn't have any suggestions on correcting him. I said, why don't you just send a letter to every person in the park telling them exactly what an emergency is? Because you're paying him time and a half every time he goes on a call, and some of these calls are ridiculous. He's also now, her solution was, he was yesterday or the day before, he comes home and he tells me, well, they're gonna take care of the emergency calls now. They're gonna decide if it's an emergency or not, which I think is the right thing to do, especially with that call he got a month ago. But they're gonna give him $10 now for every call. Well, that's not saving the park money, that's costing us more money. So that's Megan's RPM solution. And I don't think it's a very good solution. Even though it's gonna put more money in our pockets, it's not fair to the residents of Palm Hill. Whereas if you just put it on a piece of paper, an emergency call is a water leak. An emergency call is alarms going off on the buildings. Any other emergency call on fire? No, because my husband can't put out a fire, he call the fire department or 911. He gets calls for obnoxious people at the pools. What do you want him to do?
We need a workshop.
And he's not gonna crawl under your house and fix your pipes. You don't pay him enough to be a plumber. So if you got a leaky pipe under your house, call a plumber. We're responsible for our homes, and I think within 2 feet or something, I don't know. But whatever it is, call a plumber, call an electrician. Don't call the emergency number for Palm Hill, because that's gonna cause our maintenance to go up every year. We need to just say what the emergencies are, and put it out for everybody in the park, so you don't just call the number to call it.
We have a fantastic maintenance crew. We really do. They come out the rain and anything, they do the work, and I want you to understand that we really do appreciate them, and I wish you to recognize that.
We have a home caller, somebody from home, go ahead. Joan, Jane?
It's Jane again. Back to the orientations, they are given a phone book, they are given a link, and they're given a map of the park. They're given a synopsis of the most important rules and regs, plus a whole rule and reg section.
That we have to go back to.
So it is covered thoroughly, but I really, in my heart, would love for them to do it before they close on their house. Because then everybody would definitely be there. And also, we do come in, I don't do it anymore, but we did come in on Saturday or Sunday for people at work.
Sure, that makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Eckhart again, sorry. A different subject. Over the years, I've been here 23 years. Over the years, we have seen so many times that our water shut off. Okay, now if you're not on the computer, or you're not looking at 732, and you're halfway through a shower, God bless you. Anyways, it was mentioned over the years, and I'm talking 20 years, and Jeannie's been here, I think 45. I hate to say it out loud, but I think she can attest to this. It's been mentioned so many times, why don't we do a reverse phone trade? Now, I realize some people are gonna be in Nova Scotia, maybe they're in England, don't care. North, south, east, west of Florida. The problem is, you should get an alarm phone call from the office. There should be some way we can set that up so that you know, okay, because Ronnie and the crew are gonna show up, or whether it's an outside entity that's coming in that does something and that goes down. We've had so many problems with the water. This has been since I moved in. And it'll probably be for many more years. This is a very old property with old pipes. We've spent a lot of money this past year on pipes and relining. And that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up, is I realized we spent all this money. I don't know what else has come out of that, but I do know, Sylvia, that your husband has worked very hard on the water issues, along with other people in the park. The only thing I have that I want to comment on is the amount of money that is spent when we do work in here. And you're gonna have the scope of whatever the job may be. I think that all of that needs to be, we never have, when we have these committees or board meetings, we never have the due diligence, it looks to me. And they've always built in a contingency fee. Okay, and sometimes it comes back into the budget, fine, but it's very volatile. And when you're spending $600,000, that's a lot of money to me. Now, there's over 1,000 people involved here, but still, we've got to be very fiscally responsible, which takes you back to this budget and getting a 25, 35 increase. This year, you're gonna start getting your money together. That legal committee, the chairperson and that committee is absolutely critical for the board to function. They're gonna have to deal with the Taylors. It takes a full year. I was on the board the last time we went through this, and I'm telling you, it takes at least a year to prepare all the paperwork, get the funds. You need to set aside funds in that legal fund. We used to have a capital expenditure fund and an improvement fund. That was all changed a couple of years ago, and I have no idea why. Because you knew exactly where all the money was, from my perspective. Now, there are people that are CPAs that know far more about it than I do, but I know the reality of what I live with, and I know what I've seen. And there's someone in this room right now that was part of that initial resolution for the Taylors. And if that person, one of the 7 that was sued, didn't speak up, I don't know if Palm Hill would have been here at all when that happened. And then we got people involved, new people on the board, new eyes, fresh eyes, great. New blood is always a good thing. Anybody makes a mistake, I make a mistake almost every day over something, because my husband tells me, so I know I made a mistake. But with the money, we've got to watch what we're doing. We know we need to have things done, but I think they should be compartmentalized, and you need due diligence in here. And your 3 bids should absolutely be mandatory. Come on. In Florida, you got a lot of people here. The board is doing a pretty good job, but I've seen them constantly not agreeing with each other when it comes to the facts. when they're passing motions and amounts are put out. I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to me. I think you need more due diligence done and let them be sure about what they're doing before they spend their money.
We need more people to step up and get on the board, more people on committees, we need more people to get involved. Richard?
Hi, my name is Richard. My term is, here we go, okay, sorry. My name is Richard Mays, I'm at 16 Frangipani Circle, and I appreciate all of you for saving all of your booze. The point that I want to make, and it's almost like what she said, what Chris said. Very interested. I've been here 10 years with my lovely wife. This is our home, this is where our retirement's going to be. We are members of this community, just like you. We're no more important than you, and you're no important than us. This is our community. And this is a big community. If you're new to Florida and you don't really understand, I've been here in Florida since 1966. Originally, yes, you know where I'm from. And go blue, go blue. And so I just want to tell you this. This is my opinion. And I hope you can understand my opinion. In 10 years of living in this park, 10, we have seen financial records that are produced by Resource Property Management. And everybody says, oh my God, that's great. Wow, look at what they're doing. Oh, gee, that only cost $10,000, but isn't it neat that we do? Stop it. This is a challenge to the board and to the community. So board, this is your background check. We want an outside independent auditor to come and do our complete audit of all. It gets better. Pay attention, Megan. You take this back to your office. I'm a resource property manager in Seminole City. You failed. This is your credit check. That's all I gotta say. We need some help. And we need outside independent people. Thank you so very much, and I'll accept your votes now.
You know, I would like to elaborate a little bit on that. We have got to take back our park. We give all our money to the maintenance department. Excuse me, to management department. I was close. Started with an M, didn't it? We give all our money to the management company. They sign the checks. They pay the bills. We have no overseer of where our money goes. We have to go back. When I was on the board, in 6 years, the president signed all the checks. Now the management company signs all the checks to pay the bills. We had, at that time, where the treasurer took care of the receipts and the invoices, and we knew where the money was going back and forth. We don't have that now. You know, we have where we have bids going out, where the building and grounds would get a bid, and the other committees would get a bid. We don't have that now. Megan gets the bids, or the park. Yes. So, anyway, it comes a time where we have to, as people, stand up. And the new people that moved in, get involved, and get involved here. Get on a board, get on a committee. Tell them you want to serve our country, and our community. So vote. Okay. So.
Dan walked away.
You got something?
Dan walked away. Kim, who's got next? Kim?
No, I got somebody not here.
Speaking of people getting involved, okay. All right, you know, it was mentioned bids. We have to make sure they're insured, and that's why the management company has this Liam or whatever. You know, when I was a contractor, I had insurance, and I'll tell you what, I knew from my
Be nice.
other people, business owners, that if we canceled our insurance, guess what? Not only that, that insurance company would call the city licensing and say, oh, they didn't pay, insurance isn't there. They'd call Florida Ag, their insurance isn't valid. They get it out so fast when we don't pay our insurance as business owners. So that's really not a good excuse. But the thing is, all of us have some kind of background. So we kind of know when a contractor is telling us what is a little over the edge or right on. So that's what I mean getting involved. The next thing, there are notices that go out that we get charged for. Okay, every time there's a little piece of paper. I'm a black captain. I have no problem in giving people, hey, this is something that's going on, or blah, blah, blah. Instead of having all this mailing, let's, you know, get a team of, hey, why don't we deliver such and such, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, start handling some of that. Even for like the fines, the notices that somebody's doing something wrong, the notifications. You know, why don't we have a team of us residents going around and, hey, we don't need to know what the violation was. But when I was a apartment manager, I would have to go around and I'd just tape it to their door and take a picture of it. It's as easy as that. Or give them a phone call. We have most of the numbers in the directory and everything. Little things like that add up. Plus, it gets us to know our neighbors. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Belinda has her hand up. Belinda, Sherry Stewart.
This won't take but a second. I wanted to say that I have not been here a long time, and I'm just now trying to figure things out. And I was told that if you want to get on a committee, you had to go to committee meetings and find out what was going on. And that's one of the things you had to do in order to get permission to be on a committee. Now, so that's, you know, I really want to be on some committees. Also, I hope everybody will go to the board meetings, because when you're here, you can get involved. And what I'm seeing happening is that people would get up there and ask questions, and they were never given any answers. They just smooth over it and move on without answering questions.
I got on a committee, I asked the person in charge of that committee if I could join, and they said yeah. So I don't know if you gotta find out what committee you wanna be on and ask that person in charge, instead of going to them again and again and again. I just asked them.
I was told by Pat Ford, because I presented that question to her at the last board meeting.
Yeah, we don't have answers tonight though. If you ask Pat, we don't have answers.
Okay.
We can bring it up, you know, workshop it, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope everybody will start coming to the board meetings and get more involved.
Everything's in the daytime, I work.
Well, we need to address that. That's something we really need to address for the people that do work that they're not able to make these meetings. And it makes it look like they don't want us there.
As far as Terry Stewart, 609 Queen Farm, as far as the fines and letters, I have a friend that actually was the reason we moved in here. Her house is immaculate, her outside's immaculate. She got an email talking about a bush she had not trimmed. They didn't let her, but she wasn't here for 5 weeks. But my neighbor behind me has grass this tall, snakes. So it's kind of pick and choose.
Well, it's the rules and regs, right? It's the rules and regs that you walk around and drag, I mean.
So they kind of, it seems to me like they kind of pick on people, you know? Right. And I think the common denominator here is Megan, sorry.
I got one last thing to say. I come here as a homeowner. I'm not on any committee, not on any board. It's for the park, just a clubhouse. I come here to speak. I ran 3 electrical contracting companies. Ran them all myself. I was the head engineer in Harvard Cove Towers in New Jersey with 528 luxury apartments. I also ran a business where I was the head engineer for manufacturing Daily Coats, who had 33 contractors working for him, and I took care of everything. And the reason I bring this up is because I'm a big guy, I'm nothing. I was only a kid that grew up on the streets of New York. But the reason I bring this up is because we have 100 or 1,000 or 500 people in here just as smart or smarter than me, and just as smarter than the people that are running the place. We should ask them for their help. We should ask what their occupation was for. And we should ask them to stand up and to say, look, at least give advice to us. We have a lot of people here, very intelligent people, who would rather a gamut of occupations, and we should be able to tap into them instead of having the same people on the committee and board over and over again. Thank you very much.
Anybody else have questions, concerns? Walt? You come talk to my microphone if you want. Oh, okay.
Chris Eckhart. I'd like to bring up something else, and that's contracts. In here, I don't think that the contracts are vetted enough. You've got people in this room that I'm very aware are very savvy and can read a contract and understand exactly what you're agreeing to. There's one contract that we have, and it's a big cost. That's our management. And from my perspective, I think we should also, the board should go, this is why you've got to have a legal committee. A legal committee should be looking at every single contract we have in here. And they should be going over there with a fine-tooth comb to see what we should be updating. And you have to agree that cost of living is much different now than maybe a contract was from 3 or 4 years ago. So we gotta kind of go with that a little bit. But in the meantime, all these contracts, I've read the contract from RPM. Oh my God, they're not responsible for anything, from what I read. Everything under there is like, okay, well, we can contact your attorney and get information. What do you mean, on our guy? They have their own attorney. I don't understand why that contract, if maybe it's a boilerplate, what they call a boilerplate contract that is circulated through many of these management companies. I don't know, but I do know there are CAMs out there, and that is that's a registered individual real estate manager. And I know Fairway Village has one. They run their property as smooth as could be. It is a smaller park than ours, but it's still more than sufficient. And the homeowners seem to be fully informed, whomever is asking questions. First couple of years we lived here, we didn't spend any time in this park. We were gone off property all the time. I was one of those people that never read the book, didn't care, just wanted to come here, live here, didn't want to partake, get involved. You people handle it. Well, guess what? I am those people. Oh my God, what a shock that was for me. And it is an eye-opener when you realize that you don't speak up for yourself. Like if you own a house up north, you take care of it, don't you? Didn't you have a house before? Well, this isn't new. I don't care if you call it a condominium, a trailer, whatever you want to call our park. It's my home for me. And I am very concerned as to where my money's going and the management contract. Oh my God, I think there are many places out there that we could really get a run for our money. I like an independent CAM and get your own CPA to do an audit, whatever, and be very careful what you ask for when you ask for a full audit, because that's very expensive. So watch what you're asking for. The board is in control, but they're not in complete control. The shareholders are. We, the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, Walt. Oh, wait, Walt,
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
stand up. Stand up, your name.
Really?
I'm saying it. You don't have to come out here.
Wow. Now you gonna tell me what to do or what?
Oh, yeah. Everybody walk.
Yeah, Walt Moore, 821 Coconut Palm. Been here a couple of years now. And I just wanted to say everybody's has some very valid questions, and even though there's not much answers, but
solution.
And that's what we need. That's fine. But what I'm getting at is what you said earlier. You said it. A few other people said it. We're all neighbors. Where are we going to get this done? We're going to have to do it together. Okay? Because we can say other things or say, well, so and so and so. That's all I've heard a lot since I've been here for this time. I've got neighbors that, that's what we used to do. I meet my neighbors, I want to know them. And when my neighbors live in Canada, places like that, they call me and say, Walt, I've got violations. And my grass is going in, they're calling me and bugging me and sending letters and stuff. I'll just say, don't worry about it, I got it. I go over, I got to do my weeds too. I go cut theirs, I trim up, make it clean and nice. I do 3-4 homes like that. Nobody asked me anything, nobody said that, I just do it. That's how we used to do it.
It's called neighborly, isn't that
We used to do that. That's how I was raised to grow up. We didn't ask for money or say, well, how much you gonna give me or what? No, we just helped. It's not a big deal. And as far as the other deal, as far as we talked about the real estate stuff, this and that. Yeah, we had orientation when we came in, and Miss Story at the time, she did it, and it was one of the committee members that was down as training with us, and and Randy was one. What's his name? Clay. Henry Clay. And he was new at the time, so we went through it, and the process was not bad. We had to find some things like around here, but we did have it. But there's been other people coming in that hasn't had anything, and they didn't even know where the pool room was. Oh, we got a library. Oh, we have a door. Oh, we have a, But I was being neighborly, I said, no, I'll tell you what, I'll show you. You can come play pool, we've got everything, and it's fine. Instead of fighting with them over, they didn't do this, we don't do that, well, there you go, neighborly. Just make the time and show them, help them. And like I said, I've been in the electrical industry for 42 years. I mean, I did more electrical for the substations, high voltage from 110 up to 345,000 volts. I built them. I ran crews, I run machinery, did a lot of stuff by hand. But back then, you did the work or you went home. But we helped each other. We had to, that was our lives out there. So I'm just saying that the bottom line is a lot of it is just as good, but we need to work together. and make it better. If it's fighting amongst each other or saying, well, he said this, she said that, well, so-and-so, and you know some other people's names that I don't want to mention, but I always been taught to be a better person. And if I see him or her, and I know what's been said and been done, still, I'll say, hey, how you doing? How's it going? I won't just turn and just, well, there he is again. Well, it does nothing. You let them win. You let them win. So, I'm just saying little things. We all this, plus we have people in the park, like you said. We've done a lot of infrastructure, estimating, a lot of construction work. I did all that too, and we know what it takes. The infrastructure, the way prices are going up, we know all that. But that's another thing. I wish they would turn to us.
Yes.
And say, hey, you had this experience at that. What do you think? Or she was on the committee for years. Hey, come here, ask you a question. Kind of use us. We own this place.
Yes, exactly.
We got to take it. We have to take it back. The only way we're going to take it back and get it back is we have to be together. Because they like it when you fight amongst each other and this and that. They use it against us.
Stay united.
So I'm just saying old school stuff that people know. That's all.
Richard, did you have a question? I don't know who you're pointing at. Stand up. Miss Sylvester.
It's hard to stand up with their role.
You're short. You're short.
I just want to know if anybody knows in here, why don't we take bids for, do we take 3 bids every year for RPM? Why? Isn't that the way, I worked in the oil, like with oil companies, and we took bids for everything. Why not take bids for the management company?
Go ahead.
I think, this isn't my question, on this whole thing that we're talking about, unity, if we all get together and approach them, when they're in their office or whatever, it doesn't take one person, it's gonna take 5 or 6 people to go there and say, hey, we demand answers here on the whatever subject you wanna talk about. And get those answers. If we don't, then, hey, you're fired. You're out of here. We take over our own damn part. Because my biggest thing right now is landscaping. It is atrocious. This place is filthy. The landscaping is awful.
We got people moving because of the way this place looks.
I
put it up here for 1 month.
1 month and they're moving out because they said, we're living in a place.
I asked if a certain group was in charge of this, and it's not, no, it's the maintenance department again. Everything's on the maintenance department. That's right.
Yeah, whoever's hired these people, they're not very good and they're not very
consistent.
consistent.
The Brightview.
I'm talking about our landscapers that come in.
Brightview, they cut grass, they don't landscape, they cut grass.
Well, I call that landscaping.
No, they're not landscapers, they cut grass.
Well, they also trim the weeds, they don't trim, they're supposed to make trim all that stuff, they don't do the trimming.
Yeah.
I waited for 3 months to get my backyard trimmed. I complained, nothing happened.
Some complain they get edged, some don't, and those are not landscapers by anything. No. I was in the act for 20 years, we did lawn and garden, Joe and I.
Yeah, they were doing an awful job, I don't know how much we pay these people, but they're not.
Yeah, we should be more doing the job there.
The job they're supposed to be doing, and where that waterfall is behind, on Royal where all the dens are, where all those animals are supposed to be having dens. That used to be a beautiful area, and they let that go. And that was part of the, landscapers. It was supposed to be cutting that and taking care of that, and now they don't.
They don't even cut on the main roads outside the way fence, the grass is this tall, and that's where all the coyotes and stuff are, but.
Yeah, so that was one of my stuff, and
Yes,
my solution
exactly.
to that is, again, going there and approaching them a few people at a time and tell them we demand certain things because we are
We don't
owners here.
We don't need a large company to do that. one guy can do it every day of the week, let's say, he can do here, 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 and there. We don't need a huge company to come in and do it in. Yeah, there's other ways around it. Yes, agreed. Yes, ma'am.
Terry Capizzola, 16 Palm Forest. Did we not used to have the lawn company twice a week? The north was one day and the south the next. Now we have a company trying to get in here, quick
Yes.
in, quick out. I cut my own yard down,
Yeah.
I flag
A lot of
off
people
every
do
week.
it.
They have tore up more than, and all I hear is, you're saving money. We're saving money, you're not saving me money.
Yep, not saving.
I suggest we hire our own.
Oh.
And if there's 20 people, one day a week, you can hire 4 guys to do this whole park 5 days a week.
Getting with the person who lives next door to you, and you all bring in this one guy, you know, and yeah.
And they're responsible, we hire them, we take care of them. Because there's gonna be a day when I can't do it, but nobody wants to look into that or do it.
I'm talking so many that live here have their own string trimmers and their own pushes to cut theirs because they do such a bad job. So they go out their own stuff. I hear that all the time. Okay.
I'm Doug Moran, 57 Royal Palm. I moved in February. I did facilities for the phone company for 25 years, and one of my complaints is about the air conditioning. At the South Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's over here.
I walked into the billiard room one day, and the compressor was short cycling. It was running on and off, on and off. I went to the office and said, "Hey, better have somebody check that out, or the compressor will burn up."
And what happened?
About a week later, going in the billiard room, there was somebody working on it. The compressor was running, and I told them, "That sounds like it's low on freon." They're like, "Yeah, kind of what we're thinking." And then I find out that they're replacing the unit.
The whole thing.
And it doesn't look very old. I used to do that for a living, so they're going to pay $50,000 to replace a unit when I don't even know if they had anybody else come look at it. I heard that they got bids, but did they just get bids because of what the first person told them, or did somebody else come look at it?
So we need somebody like you that does that.
I'd be willing to meet with the company when they are saying the whole unit is down, it's going to cost us $50,000. I don't mind going and meet with them and say, "Show me." So, just volunteer for that.
I talked to Megan a few, about 6 weeks ago about the air conditioning unit, because I clean the south end every day. And she said that back when the air conditioning unit went out the 1st of June, she said we're gonna call it, that air conditioning unit that's there now is like 11 years old. They should last about 14, but that one was 11. They're gonna have to put a whole new one in. I said, really? Again, I was like, well, it can't be fixed or whatever. Oh no, it's gonna have to be a new one. $40,000 or $50,000.
Yeah, they'll take it and fix it in. We can keep it to fix it, resell, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's gonna be a brand new one and not.
Brand new, that's being built as we speak.
Yeah. We don't know when it's coming.
4 months, it's been in the works for 4 months, we're still waiting. Richard?
I'm going to expound upon that, what you just said. And I'm going to give you a classic example of how our board and how this resource property management actually works. I just happen to know of a gentleman who lives in this park. We're talking about air conditioning at the South. That's all he does is industrial air conditioning. And he was talking, geez, they're spending all this money to replace the air conditioning unit. You've been in the business, you know. He said, I can do it at 1/3 of that price. And he said, I went to the board and said, I'd like to offer my services. And the board turned him down. Right, board? What are you going to answer to us about that? Thank you so very much.
Anybody else questions?
Anybody?
Hi, this is Bertha. This is a different subject, but this is just something I've heard. About the signs in the park, that one of them got torn down in the south.
The one got blown down.
Okay, I was told it's gonna cost $30,000 to replace that because you have to fix all 3 of them. Somehow it's the city, and I think that's crazy.
My entrance doesn't even have
We got 2 in this 8th entrance, we can take 1 and put it up, I don't know, there's simple solution.
Use the common sense.
That's something that needs to be brought up, people need to know, I'm sorry, that's crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's something else that the signage that they've been working on for a while.
I noticed, I asked one of the board members about that, and they said that, the city of Largo has new rules about every sign. So we have to have we have to be compliant to the city of Largo. And it has to be, like a monument, that's what it's called. It has to be a monument, and they need to do 3 signs. And this is all coming from the city. So I can't see 30,000 for one sign.
10, 20, 30, if they're 10 grand each, I guess that equals to that, but maybe we should, someone should call it this. Mel talking. I know.
The sign went down 2 years ago. The hurricane took the sign down. They repaired the roof on the clubhouse the following month. They got money from the sign, and if they'd have done it 2 years ago, it would have been a lot less money.
Insurance paid for the sign to get broken than it was it used to get replaced the sign, is what
Right.
you're saying?
Would have been a lot less money, but they still fooling with it, and it isn't up yet. And it's like the pond, they paid a ton of money to clean it up and left it go. And now it's full of debris. We would have cleaned it up, and they told us they'd take care of it for $2 grand a year. They wouldn't spend it.
Who cleaned it
Now
up?
they're looking at big money to do it again.
Who cleaned it up? The people?
No, they had people come in and do it. And then said they would take care of it and keep it in jail.
Sure.
Went to the board wouldn't okay the $2 grand a year. Now it's back to where it's gonna cost 20 grand to clean it up 5 years later. They won't go ahead and make any repairs. I think, from the people I talked to, the South Rec Club air conditioning could have been temporarily repaired. Fine, temporarily repair it, spend the 20 or 30 grand. Get you back up and running, and then order a new one when it comes in and replace it. It's no common sense.
I get it. Cheryl?
I just think that some of these questions should go to buildings and grounds. They've actually been decent about answering things.
I'm starting here,
Yeah.
and then I can go from committee to committee.
Yeah, that's what I think is a good
We're gonna
idea.
start here and yeah, nobody has
Sounds good.
answers, I mean, if you get the solutions, great, but nobody has an answer tonight.
Right, but that's what I was trying to say. I think that we
Agreed.
should separate this out and put it to the groups that should
Yeah,
have.
all written down. Nobody can read it. But I got.
I was just told buildings and grounds had a meeting tomorrow.
Nobody has.
1 o'clock tomorrow. Bill just said 1 o'clock tomorrow.
My name is Andy Lauren. I've been here over 30 years.
Already.
And I'm happy to see this crowd, but I was hoping to see more people. My question is why, and you said you can't answer questions.
No,
I'm gonna ask them.
Oh, you go ahead.
Can I request to see receipts on every dollar that's spent if I go to the office.
Supposedly, there's a website now where you can look at the past ledger, but I looked at it and there aren't receipts, there is ledgers that, input, yeah.
Okay, resource planning signs the checks.
That's what I hear.
Does the board approve the checks before they sign?
They are given a budget, and if they're within that, checks can be written.
That was never we've never done that before in the 30 years that I've been.
Okay.
20 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, I'm a former defendant where I was sued by the board because I was a troublemaker. Which makes, I'm one of them. And I was taken to court, and it cost us over $90,000 to defend ourselves, and we won in court. But the bottom line is, Chris Hancock and a lot of people went out and door to door to collect the money, and I am so proud. It is unreal. So there's a lot of things that are happening here. There are rules and more rules that I can check a stick at, and they're all broken. I can go to the pool and I can have a badge on, nobody else has a pool. Yet, the sign says you must wear your badge.
And shower before you get in the pool.
And if people don't take showers either.
You're supposed to take a shower before you get in the pool, and I don't see that.
When the resource planning hires a contractor, do they get 2 bids or 3, or they just hire anybody they want?
You should, you're right. Yep.
So I'd like to get the answer to that. Maybe you got a board member right there. Maybe
No,
you
you
can
can't,
answer.
no, you cannot answer. No, you get one over there, and one over there, no. There's 3 here, and they're not gonna answer. No.
And who does the hiring here?
For what?
For any contractor that comes in here, is it the same people?
RPM, I'm guessing. That's
Okay, I'd like to know who does the hiring. Because if
they're
they're not getting more than 2 bids, then they're breaking the rules.
I agree.
That's right.
And like I already said about the rules, if you want to see the rules broken, come around and drive on a weekend. Okay, I live on a corner of 66 Palm Forest Drive, and I see everything. And that's really all I have to say, but I want to compliment the people here that are here. But I wish years ago we would fill this hall. And the newcomers gotta get involved.
Yes, again, you gotta get involved, yes.
I'm getting too old to fight it anymore.
Fight the good fight.
And, I'd like to see other people in this park pick up the slack.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, Andy is a statement here. He is unbelievable. And he's been in this park for so long, it's been great.
I'm just told we have 92 participants, meaning home in here. That's good. That's something. Yeah, the board doesn't draw that.
Andy, you were asking if we get 2 or 3 bids on everything.
Yes.
I've been told directly that some of our people that work for us here are just so darn good, we don't even bother anymore.
All right.
And these things, in my mind, should be reviewed yearly.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes any sense, but the hiring, the awarding contracts, hiring, whatever, is done, I guess, at the board's behest. If they think somebody's doing a good job, it doesn't go out for bid next year. Apparently, just look at Brightview. If anybody thinks they're doing a good job, let me know.
All right, we got somebody at home.
Pardon?
Zoom? No, Zoom?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Karen, go for it.
Zoom?
Karen, unmute.
Karen?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I think it's really great to hear all the skills that people have. Is there any way that we can create some kind of a database where people can sign up and say what they're really skilled at and what their experience is, so that even if they're not serving on a committee, that they can be called upon to offer their services and make some contributions.
Agreed. I have it written down. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to just say here's something quick on that. We have another problem where we have an example, the management company. Our contract with the management company was in 2014. Never got a new contract. They just add on and add on and add on. The contract for a lot of the other things that we have. They've been there for years. We pay these people hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we can't get them to write a new contract every year. There's something wrong with it.
I've got that written down. We're gonna inquire into that also. Anybody else?
Just to let you know, as kind of a sort of new person here, just been here a couple years, it's a little intimidating to come to these things. And they say, great for this many people showing up, but we should have a whole lot more here. Kudos to you new people that are here, I'm telling you, because, I mean, I followed the fights on Facebook, and I wasn't positive that we should come tonight, because I said, honey, now listen, if it turns into a shouting match, we're getting up and walking out, right?
Me too. I'm
Because I just want you to know that it's scary for a new person to come and try to listen and share into this environment.
Well, they didn't have an orientation. They don't know what they're doing. All right, are we done?
I just have a little story I'd like to tell you. When my husband and I first moved in, a neighbor said to me, I'd like you to go to a board meeting. And I said, I don't want to go to a board meeting, it's boring, but just go. I said, okay. This was October 2001. It was packed. And it was at this hall. And the board was doing whatever they were doing, and two gentlemen stood up and were attacking the board, and attacking the board, and attacking the board. Okay. And there was a person sitting at the table and said to me, you mean to tell me that this upsets you? I said, yes, it does. And one of those gentlemen stood up, yelled at the board and said, you are un-American. Remember, 9/11/2001. This is weeks after that happened. I was appalled. I was so upset. I'm sitting there, and the one gentleman used to be a board member, stood up. I think his name was Ed Day. He stood up and he would try to calm things down and get everyone to at least be civil. And as he came back from the microphone, walking, one of those gentlemen, of the two brothers, stood up and he cold cocked him. He punched him in the side of the head. That man went down like a ton of bricks. I was so upset. And I come from a very rough neighborhood from where I'm at, but I was still very jarred. I was very sensitive to the timing, etc., and the word and the verbiage, and that's why I don't like to see a lot of discord.
Yes.
Bringing facts and bringing things to attention in the park, yes, we own it, we all should speak up, and new people, thank you for coming. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, that it was a very startling thing to see that happen. I jumped up and I ran. I don't live across the street. I ran home like a little kid. My husband's like, why are you back home? I'm like, I live here. He's like, what happened? I said, they're hitting each other. He's like, what are you talking about? There was a paddy wagon and 3 squads that showed up. And people in nice silver bracelets were leaving. And the police officers outside, 2 females, that said, I thought all these old people only went to bingo. I mean, it was one of the worst memories I have in here. The other is watching neighbors being sued in here by our board. And I think we all need to be reasonable. Just be reasonable and open. And people should be heard. If you're paying the freight, you should be heard. And don't attack the board members. Try and talk to them. If you can't talk to them, band together. There is power in numbers. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry I keep talking.
They also have to quit attacking each other. I don't like watching that. That is-
Now.
Anybody else? Anybody? Everybody standing up. You all done?
We're not done yet.
Summer meeting. We're walking up.
Arnold Tony again. Chris, I remember that. Very scared. Several of us in here have been on the board. Some of us have been on a board when it was very disruptive. I unfortunately was on a board that was very cooperative with everybody. We got a lot of things done and it was a real pleasure. The Communications Committee is getting ready to send out requests for people that want to run for the board. I think it's time that we, as shareholders here, make a decision to try to do something for the park other than, I don't want to say complaining, but give us input and run for the board. I think it's time. We've got a lot of people in here that, can do it. Just do it. If you get elected, great. If you don't, it's not a problem. But at least try and come and help support the park by being a part of the board. That's my comment.
I do want to say, I would like to say something. Whether I agree with the board or a board member or I don't, understand they are volunteers as well. So we should thank them for the hours. We don't have to agree with them. We can disagree. But I believe that we do not have to be disagreeable in our disagreements. We still have to be decent people, respectful of one another, and thank the board for the hours they volunteer. Everything that gets done here, other than the paid contracts, are done by volunteers. And we would have nothing here of entertainment. And I've also seen board members outside of their position, helping with landscaping, helping with other things. So try to put your personal animosity, if you have it, aside and look at the issues as the issues, not personal. And remember, they are volunteer. So that I would like to say.
One more. Miriam Weaven, thank you so much. And I'm thrilled to have you for a neighbor. Yeah. I'm glad to see that you're doing
Thank you for attending.